Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to yet another episode on your favorite Vasanth Tech Talk YouTube channel. So today, in fact, in the previous session, we saw about how to install the MS Foundry, and we saw about the Foundry model list. So we have got multiple models in one Foundry. So it's something like where we can contain multiple models in one single, uh, the AI Foundry, the MS Foundry part. And again, it has clearly tell us like what kind of task it can help with us, like Pi 4 or Pi 3.5. Everything will help us in terms of chat. And we have got Quen with tools as well. So that's additional advantage of using it. So that's why I'm using the Quen here. And if you see, yep, so the Quen has chat as well as tools as it's in its tool section. So it has got additional advantage of using it. And then we saw about, we loaded one of the model from it, and then we did even an interactive chat. So this is how we ended the previous day session. So today in this session, we are going to start with the actual work. So previously it was kind of the basic steps, the baby steps that we kept. And now here is where this goes from just from a cool demo to an actual engineering skill, which is gonna get yourself into the AI race or into the AI to survive this AI skills thing. So the model is actually running now. So and while it runs, the Foundry Local, that's where we have installed. That's the platform or that's the basement that we have used to install all these models, right? So that Foundry is actually spinning up an HTTP server. It has a REST API. And right here, so all these like the HTTP server, the REST API, everything is on your machine or anybody's machine, like who has installed all this setup. And again, it is OpenAI compatible, which means the same code that we would write to call ChatGPT work with this, but just with a different URL. So let me just quickly run the Foundry service status. So this, if you see here, it's telling clearly that it is running in the URL that is showing here in the HTTP localhost with the OpenAI status. That's what I told you. So again, this run Foundry status, so we can actually, as I told you, like it has the HTTP server, REST API, and everything. So if you can just very clearly see that. I mean, the status is running, and you can see an endpoint and a port number. And we have to note it down because we are going to use this in the next steps. Again, the port is dynamically assigned every time when the service status, when the service starts. So it's not always the same number. So whenever you're building an application that uses the Foundry local, you should always check the port programmatically using this command. So always make sure that you're not going to hard code it. So Foundry service status is used to get the current port number. URL most doesn't change because that's a local host, but the port number might change. So always we should not supposed to hard code it. And now let's actually hit the API, and we are on the terminal window. So we can even in fact we can use the same one to run it. So I'm going to use the curl command for that. So curl, and then I'm going to use the same URL that we have got just now. Copy and paste. So when I do the curl, so here you can see it has got the endpoint, the model directory path, the pipe name, is auto registration resolved true, and auto registration status is successfully downloaded and register the following EPs, right? The execution providers basically. So we have already also confirmed that the API is alive with this status check. So the next part, the exciting part, let's make a real AI chat request over HTTP. And this is exactly how every AI powered application works. So it's something like an HTTP post request with a JSON body. So you can very well watch this here now. Uh, So far, what did we do is now we can deploy the private AI into any app. And the reason why we can use this in terms of healthcare or legal or finances, any industry where we cannot send data into a third-party API, we can actually solve that problem with exactly what we just built. So now let's see how to manage these models like a pro, right? So that's what we need, and that's what the organizations want us to do, right? So right now let's talk about the managing models, because in a real organization we'll be managing multiple models for different tasks, and we need to understand the full life cycle. So the life cycle is 5 stages, starting from downloading from the catalog to your disk and loading into the memory for interference, then running, this is where the requests are served, and unloading, which is where we remove from the memory when done, and finally delete, where we remove from disk when we no longer need it. So now let's see what we have downloaded so far. So if I go to the Foundry cache list, so here you can see these is the model that I have got in my cache. This is the one that I have downloaded so far. And now the TTL, that is time to live. So this is how long a model stays in memory after the last request. By default, we have it as like for 600 seconds, that is 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes of no traffic, the model automatically unloads itself from the RAM to free up resources. And you can think of it like the computer going to sleep. So if there is no activity for a while, it saves power. So next time when you send a request, it loads back up from the disk. And this matters because the AI models can be 2 or 4 gig in RAM. So if you're running multiple models, you want smart memory management. And in fact, we can actually control the TTL through the REST API when we can programmatically load a model. And this is useful for production applications where you need the model which are always warm and ready. And now let's talk about removing a model. So if you try a model and decide that you do not need it, or you want to free up your disk space, you can delete it like this. So you can type Foundry cache remove quen 2.5 minus 0.5b. So just by running this, we can delete it. And if we need, we can actually download it again. So let me just click yes. Yep, so I've deleted the model. Okay, so if you want to store model on a different drive, say you have an SSD with limited space and you have a large external drive, you can actually change the cache location as well. So by doing this, you can actually save some memory in your actual system. Let me just check whether I have it. Okay, no models now. Let me just quickly go back and run it. Yep, I'm just downloading it again from my cache. So since I have removed it from my cache, there is no files in my machine. So I have to again start downloading from scratch to my local cache local machine. And again, these are the kinds of details that matter when you're deploying the Foundry Local in a real environment. And it is not just about running one model, it's about managing them efficiently across different projects and hardware. So now the next part, which is my favorite part, that is connecting to VS Code AI Toolkit. So in last section of the demo, we saw, and this one is again for developers especially. So we have been working in the terminal, but in real day-to-day development, we are in VS Code most of the time. So let's connect the Foundry local to VS Code. So your local AI is right here in your editor. And for that, the first thing, we have to make sure that it is still running. So go back to your terminal and let me just come back from here and type Foundry service status. So this will tell us, yep, so my model management service is running. Now I'm on VS Code already, so we need this AI Toolkit extension. So if you have not installed it, go to the extension part and search for AI Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Yep, I believe the first one. Yep, AI Visual Studio Code for Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. So it's already installed. I have already installed it. So in case if you want, you can actually install it in your machine. And if it given, let me just do another restart extensions and let me do it again. Install. Yep, I'm installing it again. So once it's installed, we will see the AI Toolkit icon in the activity bar on the left. Let's wait. Yep, and AI Toolkit extension. Let me click on it. Yep, now it's asking me that the MCP server definition Foundry MCP wants to authenticate to Microsoft. But by the time here you can see, let me just hello it. So now once you install your AI toolkit successfully in your machine, the next step is just open the extension here and go to the models. Under my resources, under local resources, click on the models, so you won't be able to see anything. And just if you go hover near this, you will be able to see that add model for remote interface. So just go here, and once you click here, automatically you can see you have got multiple models to add, like add a custom model. uh, Let me click on that custom model, and here if you see it helps. I mean, it gives me a dialog box that's open for me to enter the endpoint URL. And for the endpoint URL, I have to give the port number that I've got here, because this is going to be my port which I'm going to use. So up to the port number, copy that, slash v1 slash chat slash completions. Yep, and clicking enter. Let's just do a quick refresh. So now to enter the exact model name, there is a code where you can use, so which is curl http slash 127, that's your localhost IP, colon 36, my port number, 2 slash v1 slash models. So this actually gives me the data. And then here you can see this part, that is the ID. So this is going to be my actual ID, the full detail here. Let me just copy that and paste it here. And yep, that's what I need to do. So I've got the model name, and click on enter. Sorry, click on enter. Enter display model name. Okay, default will be Quen. Press enter. Yep. And now I need to enter the API key for this. Okay, so for now, let's click on enter. Let me just type dummy as the value. And yep, so now the model has been added successfully, and try the model in the playground. So now we have successfully set up the Foundry Local in my VS Code, and we are good to go with the next steps, right? So I think you're following me until this step, and you have got the right path in doing this. And let's go to the playground and let's start playing with the AI toolkit. So now let's see how to start our play with the playground, the one that we have set up. So go to this AI toolkit part and go to the tools. Under that, okay, the agents, and under that you've got your local agent. So click on it, and you get to see this agent builder. So give this agent a name like my assistant, and choose the model. So we already have only one model, so I've just chosen this. And in terms of instructions, you can give an instruction like how, or how should it help you. Even if you want, you can click on inspire me, so that'll actually create a prompt. So any question that you ask will be based on that particular prompt part here. And let me just close it here. Yep. So it tells me that you are a travel planning assistant that creates personalized vacation itineraries based on user preferences and interest. No, let's rewrite it for now. Open in editor. Okay, I am gonna change it like I am an AI engineer, and all my prompts and work are going to be based on AI models, and I have to work along with the AI models to improve my technical work, right? And then let me click on the improve part to improve this. Uh, Transform it like I am a 20 years experienced engineer in cloud DevOps AI, and I'm going to click improve. So this will actually help me to generate the prompt. So it's actually going to transform my playground entirely, right? So that's how I can again we can use it. So this is some prompt or some of the activities that you can use to connect with your agent. I mean, just make sure that you're doing it because this will definitely improve your productivity, improve your again. We are going to use this in your uh, in connecting the agents in terms of your work place. Like this is how you're gonna transform yourself from a normal software engineer to an AI engineer. So now you know the difference. Like how are you gonna improve your work? How are you going to automate the tasks, and how your productivity is gonna multiply, like in multiplication of times, right? So let's wait for it to get it generated, and then we'll connect again here shortly. So yep, the prompt is ready, and I'm going to give just a quick command, something like give me a Python function to check if a number is prime. So now I'm going to get a Python function. So that's going to tell me. So we are now chatting with our local AI inside the VS Code. So no internet is required. It doesn't going to take any API cost. And critically, our code and our prompts, so our project details, so everything stay completely private. They're never going to leave our mission. And for a developer who works on a proprietary code, which is massive, so they can um, actually use this and they don't need to ever paste it to ChatGPT because of confidentiality agreements. And then in terms of the job security part, so let's bring this home. So in the last few sessions, I mean, right from this one and the previous two sessions, we have done something which most engineers have never done. So we have installed a local AI interference engine and where we can run a real model. So we have hit it with the REST API and we have managed the model lifecycle. And in fact, we have connected it with your code editor as well. So now just think about what every organization is doing right now. So they are building their own AI Foundry, their own internal AI platform, and they are hiring engineers who can set this up. They can who can manage it, who can secure it, and who can integrate it into their applications. Again, the comment from our viewer in session one like was exactly right. So every organization is building their own foundry, and that means every organization needs engineers who understand this, and that is us, and that's you, and that is what you just learned today. So AI is not going to take your job, but engineers who build with AI, who can deploy it privately, manage it efficiently, and integrate it into real applications, they're going to replace the engineers who don't, and that's the cold reality. So this course exists, so you are on the right side of that line. And session by session, we are building the complete skill set. And again, Foundry Local is just the beginning. The next session, we're going to go deeper. We'll build an actual application on top of this and a Python app that can talk to your local AI through the REST API. It could be a real code, real project. And if this session helped you, smash that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and share this with one developer friend who needs to see this. And because this knowledge is what separates engineers who thrive from engineers who get left behind. So I'll see you in the next session. Let's go. Take care and bye bye.